Japanese entertainment became extremely popular because it was unique. It wasn't like the Western slop we're getting out of the video game industry or out of Hollywood. It was new, it was fresh, it was special, and unfortunately, a lot of Japanese companies over the years have chased global audiences or modern audiences because they think it's going to bring in more money when really it just pushes their established fan base away. And now, after a Dandadan controversy, apparently lawyers are saying that it should be a wake-up call and manga should be made under global standards. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, obviously, yes, I understand that if you want to release your product in a certain part of the world, you do need to follow their ratings boards and laws, but on the flip side, we are talking about companies really just wanting to appeal to, I would say, the Western world of entertainment viewers, and in that group, as we have seen on social media, there are some sensitive snowflakes that will find a controversy out of anything. And that's the type of person these companies want to appeal to when they talk about modern audiences and global audiences. And now this controversy is sparking a debate on whether or not Japanese manga should comply to global standards, which I don't even really need to say it. I completely disagree with this stance. So it says the manga has always had plenty of pop culture references and Easter eggs for eager fans to discover, but with the release of its anime adaptation, anime studio Science Saru wasn't reluctant to turn the shenanigans up a notch. However, the decision to parody a song from one of Japan's most famous rock bands ended up causing a wave of divided opinions, which has turned into a conversation about copyright in Japanese media. Sometimes you are going to reference other forms of media. You're going to reference video games, movies, TV shows, other manga, and that should be perfectly fine as long as it is inspired by that. It is a reference. It's not like you're stealing someone's work in its totality and you're trying to make money off of that and say, well, technically it's slightly different. That's not the case here. One celebrity lawyer suggests that Japanese manga authors will have to change their ways if they want to have their work succeed in the West, bringing up Dandadan's recent controversy as an example of what could go wrong. Japanese anime fans, on the other hand, aren't eager to accept this view, and even as somebody in the United States, I do not want to accept this either. I think it is of course, very slippery slope, just like censorship. When you start telling creatives what they can and cannot put in their work, especially if it's just supposed to be references to other pop culture creations, then yeah, you are holding them back. I know that, again, laws in Japan are very different than laws in, say, the United States, but referencing something is not a major problem. And it shouldn't be. In an official statement posted on August 22nd, the team behind the anime adaptation apologized to the musician for one of the anime's recent episodes featuring a song that is a direct parody of a track of his band X Japan. But again, it's a parody. In places like the United States, you can parody something because you are transforming it. It's not like they copied it and they, ripped the track off of the internet and they put the exact thing into the show. That's not the case. Therefore, this shouldn't be a problem. But now they're saying, well, to avoid legal scrutiny, you are going to have to change everything about your creation. And there are people arguing now, like these lawyers, that parody isn't fair use. As the already widespread controversy was about to mellow out, a Japanese celebrity lawyer shared his opinion on the matter, suggesting that there is another core problem lying beneath the controversy. So, he talks about the global market and how when it comes to Dandadan, there's also been a dispute about the name of the main character. I believe we need to take a step back and start approaching manga creation in accordance with global copyright standards, he said in his X post. It will be necessary to take those steps if we want anime and manga to go global, but manga and anime is already global. The regions in the world that are going to accept manga already have, and it's already sold in these places, and it's already extremely popular. So all you're doing is basically using the excuse that you want something to be able to go global, but really it's just a Trojan horse for more censorship. I mean, you're going as far as to complain about the name of the character. Yes, Ken Takakura is the name of a famous Japanese actor and singer, but at the same time, the character doesn't really resemble him at all whatsoever. So, yeah, that's a big problem. It's almost like this lawyer just wanted to throw their 2 cents into the conversation and almost strike fear into the hearts of Japanese creatives by saying, well, you could get sued into oblivion if you don't change these things. But it hasn't been a problem in the past for manga and anime to reference pop culture. In order for Japanese manga to further expand globally, we need to be wary of different countries' laws and customs in advance, like Hollywood does it. Okay, so that's like using the excuse that, oh, well, we have to appeal to China and the CCP because their laws are very different from somewhere like the United States, and that means the product in its entirety has to be sanitized and censored, because if you want to release it somewhere and you need to be respectful of their laws and customs in advance, but it's just one product across the board, that means everything is going to be completely sanitized, which is an insane take to have. And I really think that this lawyer doesn't understand creative freedom at all whatsoever, and really how manga and anime became so popular in the first place. Sure, you can try this, but it's not going to be a successful strategy, and all you're really doing is setting your creatives up for failure. And of course, there are tons of Japanese ex-users that totally disagree with this, calling his reasonings vague and the criteria for worldwide standards unclear. The Dandadan and Yoshiki controversy is just a copyright infringement problem, yet people are trying to bring up global creative standards in order to regulate anime and manga in a way that suits their own interest, which, yeah, is a major and glaring problem here. He is not really taking into consideration what made these things popular in the first place across the world. And yes, he is trying to push the global audiences or global standards angle because it's like he disagrees with this content. You would think that he would say, no, they can keep creating it until something arises, but they should be weary, right? It's never a problem to warn people, but that's not what he's trying to do here. If Dandadan was this big of a problem for Mr. Kito, Jinmatama would probably be subject to book burning by his standards. As some have already pointed out, the talking points in the discussion seem to have, whether purposefully or unintentionally, been muddled up a bit. While copyright is a matter of law and simply must be considered if you want to avoid a lawsuit while localizing your work for other regions, like how JoJo's Bizarre Adventure changes stand names like King Crimson to Emperor Crimson in its English localization, using cultural references unknown to audiences outside of Japan is a matter of creative choice and appears unrelated to legal issues. Yeah, I personally think that his argument doesn't really stand, and I know there's a lot of other people that clearly agree with this. And another post that I actually saw about this I thought was very interesting, because Zenko Kurashita, a politician, right, who's been discussing collective shout and, the worldwide censorship that's going on right now with Steam and itch.io, said Japanese intellectuals often say manga and anime should be brought up to international standards. We need to seriously communicate the correct reasons why Japanese content culture has been so highly regarded around the world. Regarding the anime, there's also the controversy over the name of the main character. As he stated his opinion, I believe we should take a step back, including our past, and create manga that meets international standards. Both I and the original poster share a sense of crisis that Japanese anime and manga could destroy themselves if they pander to global standards. I mean, even as a citizen in the United States myself, I have always said that other people should not sanitize their work for certain regions. Even if something doesn't translate somewhere like here and the Japanese creatives still want to put it in their work, that's perfectly fine, or vice versa. If they want to consume content being made in the United States, even if it's not something that you'd think that they'd enjoy, that should be perfectly fine, and nobody should be going around censoring each other's work. However, they also say that there are many intellectuals in Japan who say global standards are important without really understanding the issues, which, yeah, I mean, we don't really know what these global standards are or who is truly behind pushing this viewpoint. It's one that we've heard for a very long time, one we've never really gotten clear answers on. And I do definitely agree that like international standards are kind of a myth because Japanese media got popular and ultimately is beloved by millions and billions of people because it is unique. We don't want these works to be sanitized or to be politically correct or to really be westernized, because that's why people started looking to South Korean and Chinese and Japanese developers and storytellers because they were doing something really unique. So I'll definitely be keeping my eye on this situation, but there's this massive controversy over copyright infringement. But really, there are people who are saying, well, we need to sanitize all work and make it acceptable for global audiences and for it to meet global standards, which of course is a stance that is getting wrecked on social media. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this and of course found it important and informative, make sure to give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.